Great. So I'd like to call the Enforcement Intervention Committee meeting to order. We'll start by establishing a quorum. Patricia Wynn, Chair, here. Betty Woods? Here. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan's here.
David Lawler?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. The first item of business is public comment for items not on the agenda. These could be items for future agendas. Please note that the committee may not discuss or take action on any matter raised during public comment section that is not included on this agenda, except to decide whether to place the matter on the agenda of a future meeting. So is there any public comment at this time?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close? I'm sorry. There are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Are there any public requests for comments there in HQ2?
I don't see any request for public comment.
Thank you. Dr. Mary Fagan, are there any public requests for comments in San Diego?
Nope, not in San Diego.
Thank you. Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thanks very much. The next item of business is item number 9.2, review and vote on whether to approve the previous meeting minutes. So we met on March 24th. I hope members have had an opportunity to review the minutes. Any questions or comments? Well, I will go ahead and move approval of the March 24th meeting minutes.
I'll second. This is Mary.
Thanks, Mary. So we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and open for public comment on this item.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Are there any public requests for comments there at HQ2?
No, there are not.
Thank you. Dr. Mary Fagan, are there any public requests for comments in San Diego?
Nope.
Thank you. Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. So we have a motion and a second. I'm going to proceed to a vote. Tricia Wynn votes yes. Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
And David Lawler?
David Lawler, abstain.
Great. Thanks very much. That motion passes. Item number 9.3 is information only, enforcement and investigation update. For this, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon Johnson.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Shannon Johnson. I am the Enforcement Division Chief, and I will be presenting both 9.3 and 9.4. 9.3 is the overview of enforcement intervention and the investigations unit. And there's not a whole lot that's changed since the last report, but just to update, we're still working with the Office of Organizational Improvement, OIO, and we are finishing up the mapping process of all of our tasks or milestones within the complaint intake unit, and we have started on the probation unit, and we'll be moving on to the additional units once those are completed. The investigations unit is still getting ready to hire their central supervising investigator for the central region. And we are still working with Division of Investigations on our enforcement. We worked with investigations on our enforcement training guide, which got updated, and the training was held on May 12th. That included the Attorney General's Office, the Division of Investigation, BRN staff, and then we also invited other boards to attend as well with their enforcement and investigation staff. So that was successful. That has been updated. Unfortunately, I wasn't present, but I do believe that it was recorded for future training possibilities. We're going to be having another investigations and enforcement staff on training for staff on June 28th. This is going to focus on the nurse anesthetist scope of practice, just like we did with the med spa last time. I believe that I want to say Betty or Imelda, one or the other, had attended that, but we're going to be having another one on the nurse anesthetist scope. So that will be coming June 28th. Any questions for investigations? Actually, I haven't even really got to investigations. That's kind of an overall general. Let me just move into complaint intake. So we are still in recruitment for a staff services manager 1. We do have that unit split. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but we do have 2 managers that oversees complaint intake unit. So we still have the 1 manager. We're just recruiting for that second spot. And that unit also oversees the expert desk, and we continue to recruit for expert consultants across the state of California. Obviously for every position, but within your agenda item, there is a list of bullets of positions that are more critically needed, like long-term care facilities, the SNFs, geriatric, hospice, home health, ambulatory clinic, and then cosmetic, Botox, laser, all the med spas. So if anyone is interested in applying, you can find information on our website at rn.ca.gov with the application and the criteria for becoming an expert witness. I'll move on to investigations unless there's any questions on complaint intake. Okay. Investigations. So on your agenda item, the first table, table A, just shows you the average cases per investigator over the last 3 years for the month of June. And you can see it's kind of fluctuated a little bit over the years. We're continuing to work with DFI on the pilot program that we initiated back in September of 2019. And we continue to work with them. That pilot is up. It's the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. It will be ending December of this year. So we're going to start conversations with updates we want to make to that MOU and any changes. And we've already discussed certain case types that may be moving over to BRN as opposed to DFI handling those cases. So that will be upcoming. For the discipline unit, we're still continuing to tread pretty evenly. Only 8% of our cases have been at the AG's office for over a year. We are actively recruiting also in discipline for the staff services manager 1 position. In the last meeting I had reported that the SSM1 manager for discipline had been promoted to the deputy chief over discipline and probation. So we're still backfilling for that position. And then for discipline, you'll see in table B, there's also average cases per analyst over the last 3 years. And even though it was lower last year, we're still lower than the year prior in 2020. So we're down to about 77 cases on average per analyst there.
Shannon, I had a quick question about that. What would be the ideal number? I mean, there is quite a bit of fluctuation. What would be the ideal number of cases per analyst?
Well, you know, it really depends on the types of cases. We split them out to different levels. We have what we call fast track cases. Fast track cases are our cases, and we worked out about probably 5 or 6 years ago, probably closer to 6 years ago with the Attorney General's office. All of our paper cases are going to be considered fast track, and those move a lot faster. Those are all of your out-of-state disciplines and your CORI, where we have court and arrest docs, because that's the meat of your case right there. And so those move pretty fast. So if you have fast track cases, those are where you're not having to review an investigative report, you're not having to deal with the expert review and opinion and putting all of that together. So with your fast track cases, you're going to have a higher caseload. With the cases where you have an investigation where you have, possibly 15 patient records that you have to review, and you have an expert opinion, and trying to coordinate hearings and all that with OAH, your caseload is going to be a little bit lower. So on average, I think probably 70 to 80 cases if you want to average it all out. So I think we're about right for discipline right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other cases any other questions before I move on to probation?
I'm not seeing any. Thanks, Shannon.
Okay. Well, like I said, we've been working with OIO, so probation is currently working on that. And then also with probation, we're in the process of hiring the SSM1 for probation. And just like complaint intake, that unit had grown so large that we split it in two. We have 2 staff service managers that oversee probation. One of them, Jaspreet Pabla, she was promoted into the other deputy chief position a couple months ago, overseeing complaint intake and intervention. So we're backfilling that position right now as well. And then with probation, table C, you'll see that the average cases per monitor have also lowered a bit in this year, June of 2022, compared to the last couple years. And Tricia, just so you know, kind of the same thing with probation is the case types are different. If you have a case where it is a practice violation and they're on probation just to monitor their practice, they only have 13 conditions they have to comply with. So those cases aren't as intricate as your chemical dependency cases, where they have 19 conditions that include your mental health evals, your physical, your abstaining, your urine or blood testing that you have to do, nurse support group, AA groups, counseling, a possible rehabilitation program. So there's a lot more to monitor there. So you're going to have a lot lower caseload if your cases are chemical dependency cases, as opposed to if you're monitoring cases that are just practice related. So on average, we always said about 50 cases per analyst, if it was chemical dependency, and we're about there or a little lower than that. And then for practice case only, it's a little higher, but on average, 75 is about the right number.
Terrific, thank you.
You're welcome. For intervention, we currently have 13 vacancies. So we are recruiting for intervention evaluation committee members. Several from Southern California all the way to Northern California. And if anyone's interested in being an intervention evaluation committee member, you can find that information on our website at rn.ca.gov, along with the application, if you're interested, application and criteria, if you're interested in becoming an intervention evaluation committee member. Table D is all the statistical information as of June 2nd. Also, I just want to remind for the newer board members and board member Lawler, there's a, in your information, there is a guideline for this table. So if you have questions on what each line item is here on this statistical table, there's a guideline that explains it to you in more detail. So it's a little bit more understandable. Let me see here. And I just want to remind, we are getting to the end of the fiscal year. So next time I report, I will be reporting fiscal year end information in comparison with previous fiscal years. I will also be updating table, table E, just so you know, is our month to month on our performance measures. That's everything that gets reported to DCA. And so that is specifically for BRN each month. But table F is the overall all Healing Arts boards across DCA and what their performance measures are in comparison with our board. And because this is for this last fiscal year, once we complete this full fiscal year, I will be replacing this table, table F, with a new fiscal year. And that is it for 9.3, unless anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions from board members or committee members or board members? Do I go ahead and open an information item open to the public comment?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Great. We'll take public comment at this point.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comment here on the WebEx. Are there any public requests for comments there in HQ2? Shannon, you've got to mute yourself.
Yeah, no, there are no comments here at headquarters.
Thank you. Dr. Mary Fagan, are there any public requests for comment in San Diego?
Nope.
Thank you. Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Shannon, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 9.4.
Okay, thank you. So item 9.4, it's the possible action regarding appointment or reappointments of our Intervention Evaluation Committee members. And this time we have 2 appointments. The first one is Betty Jackson Stewart. She's an RN member, or will be an RN member, to IEC 9 in Ontario. And Colleen Burks, who is an RN for IEC 6 in Palm Desert. These are both appointments and their term expiration would be June 30th. And we also have a reappointment who is Mary Richards, an RN member in IEC 7 in San Jose. And that term expiration will also be June 30th of 2026 if approved. So I'd like to call for a motion. Or ask for a motion.
I will move for approval of these 3 members, 2 appointments and 1 reappointment. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Woods.
Thanks, Betty Woods. Second. Is there any question from board members or committee members? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and open it to public comment.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing in the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Wynn, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Are there any public requests for comments there at HQ2?
No comments here at headquarters.
Thank you. Dr. Mary Fagan, are there any public requests for comments in San Diego?
None here.
Thank you. Committee Chair Wynn, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. So we have a motion and a second. So we'll go ahead and call the roll. Tricia Wynn votes yes. Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
David Lawler?
Yes, Lawler.
Great. So that motion carries, and we're ready to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, we will break for lunch. We will return at 2 o'clock and open ELC at that time. Have a good lunch.